So Supply and Demand is a good map to run because it has a lot of chests. However, the finale event can be pretty tricky because it's very non-linear. It's not a good map to run with bots because then you have to carry all the sacks by yourself at the end. This run, it took me about 4 minutes to do all the sacks. Most pubs will still take at least 2 minutes anyway. And if they die, it can take a lot longer than that, so your mileage may vary. So if a patrol or an ogre comes, you want to go back and you want to fight in the open area. You don't want to fight inside this building. And if it's a patrol, you can skip it by going around the ladder on the right hand side. But sometimes your pubs are too slow, so I'm going to cut to an instance where we weren't able to skip the patrol. This clip is a good example of why you need to keep a fast pace. We hear the patrol coming and we had plenty of time to skip it, but that ends up not working out. And so what could have been a quick, easy patrol is now a long wait. Instead of being where the wizard spawned in, where you can just skip the patrol entirely. The next chest is up to your left. By habit, I go for the Grim first, but I think it might be better to go to the chest first. That way your pubs don't get it. Take the side passage to the first tome, then cross the street for the chests in the other room. I go along the left-hand side and do the back room first. You can get back up to Tome 2 by climbing up this ladder and going around the left. Now here the level splits to a left and right hand path. The right hand path, which is what I got on this run, is extremely straightforward, so I'm going to cut to the left hand path where the chest is a little bit out of the way. Now when you get to the drop down here, I follow along the left hand side wall. You could go along the right wall, but I prefer to go left. It is a little bit longer, but I feel like you'll aggro fewer rats that way. You don't want to go in the middle because you don't want to get surrounded by the rats. By going along the wall, you have one direction that's safe and you're going to aggro fewer rats. However, I find that pubs tend to have a hard time with this, and it's very common that they aggro way too many rats and get surrounded. This is a very common horde spot, and a patrol can also spawn here. And if the pubs aggro the patrol and a horde, they're going to be in for a hard time. Usually I grab both of these chests at the same time, but this time there's a horde, so I stopped to help my bots. Usually I would go straight for the chest and let the pubs get the tome. If you have to revive someone, you can heal them by doing this. Now the ending event is where the real difficulty in this level comes in. Otherwise the level is very straightforward and very easy. The way most teams tend to do this is most teams tend to go in and out and then in and out. They go down the left side, grab the sacks, come back, then they go down the right side, grab the sacks, come back. This way is less efficient, it takes more time, and you spend a lot more time traveling in the middle, like walking back and forth. And I find that's when teams really fail, is when they get separated. Because the way this part of the map works, even though you can be right next to somebody, you can still be unable to help them if you're on the other side of a stall or something. So I find that anything that keeps your team together is a good thing. I prefer to try to get all of them in once, to make one circle around the outside edge and to bring all the sacks together. I find that this way helps keep the team together. Also, it's easy to back into a corner and to keep from getting surrounded. Every run is different though, depending on how the sacks spawn and depending on how your team responds. Some teams, they don't catch on to what I'm doing and I'll end up alone, and so then I might decide to go in and out with the team. I don't like to juggle the sacks personally because I'm not very good at it, so I just carry them. When given a choice, I tend to go for the furthest sacks because I want to keep my team as bunched up as possible. I don't want my team to be spread out with sacks way far in the front and sacks way far in the back. In case you ever need to come back down this way, it's worth noting that you can get all the way to the back by jumping on the tops of the little booths. And when you throw the sacks, you have to throw them all the way up. If you throw them on the stairs, they'll just fall back down to the bottom. So make sure you get them all the way up before you drop them. Now you can juggle the sacks without looking at them, but I'm not very good at it. Now I'll cut to another run that I think demonstrates why it's important that you stick so close together. In this run, our team was very close in proximity, but we had a couple booths in between us, and that ended up causing problems because things went south very, very quickly. Now, there's a lot of things I probably should have done differently here. I kind of responded to the things that happened to them instead of anticipating what would happen to them, and I feel like I could have responded a lot quicker. I did end up saving this run though. We only lost that single Grim, but it could have been a full wipe. And that's why I think it's very important that your team is very close to each other during this sequence. As always, let me know what other ideas you have, if you do things differently, if I miss any chests, and do you have any other strategies or tactics for the end part?